Hey Gwenters, welcome back for another episode of Gone Gwenting. Now, I know I've been holding on to this deck for a while, but I've been polishing some of the edges off it. I'm hoping to enter this into the Team Leviathan Gaming Open Tourney, and I am, this deck has pros and cons, but I think it is a total riot. I am calling this the Knights of Legend deck. It's dubbed as Tourney Edition. Let's just get into this. I'll just show you guys a little bit about how this deck works. You know the basic construct from the Knights deck I posted a couple weeks ago, but this Knights of Legend strikes out Drog. I just found he was not that helpful. He weighed down on my provision cost. Instead, this deck relies on a few hero characters to really punch above their weight, wipe out some of the enemy strongmen, and generate a bunch of resilience points for yourself. It plays really well in the short round, and if you get the right bronze cards, it can play pretty well in the long round. Some of the biggest changes we have here: still have Radeyah Knight, still have Century Knight, hate that guy, but we can make him work. Radeyah's Royal Guards, Temple Guard is the new add. He gives some more boosts, good synergy in here with Vissegerd. Century Artificer gives us a shield. We can use that for our duels. You can use that on Anseis or on Selkirk. Just basically makes it so they can kill a unit twice their power without losing any health, right? Selkirk does, they have 10 health, Selkirk does 5, they punch him back for 5, but it hits a shield, useless, then he does another 5, finishes them off. So they can actually hit, I did the math here, he can kill a 12-point character at only 5 points with the shield, just as kind of like broken good. Siege Support is going to give him Zeal. Also can give boosted characters with formations like Vissegerd. We can play him to ranged rogue, get a boost, and he's going to get Zeal as well. Kidwani Sergeant and Trident Infantry pair well together. Kidwani Sergeant also gives boosts that we can use for Vissegerd. Kidwani Cavalry, as you guys know, shield gets removed, they get plus points. Radeyah and Elite are going to boost themselves by 6. They pair super well with Cursed Knight. We are going to flip them into Cursed Knights, which no longer have this exposed reset self thing going on. Pardon my son slamming cabinets behind me, but he's just having a good time. Then we're going to use that Radeyah and Elite, when he is flipped over to Cursed Knight, is going to retain his base power of 1, but he is still going to be worth 7 points. He loses the armor, but he no longer is subject to that exposed reset self. I found it's pretty effective at getting the enemy to focus somewhere else. Biggest add here is Northern Wind. We're just going to use this to get rid of some super annoying cards. Ceres being perhaps the number 1 card we're going to try to kill with that. Kudakook gets you Purifies. Fendhalm's just a general engine, so long as he has shield. Century Artificer works well with him as well. Vandegrift, you guys know I love this dude. Carries over from round to round. His blade gets a boost to every knight who gets played after him. Selkirk, Reynard, Donamir, you guys all know these guys. And then Radeyah also is going to spawn our faction stratagem, which is this engineering solution. You notice I do not have it. If I did, I would add it to this deck instead of Magic Lamp, but Magic Lamp works fine. And then Shupe to cap it all off. Anyway, let's get into this. I just want to show you guys some gameplay. As always, this is real. This is live. I'm not trimming videos because I don't have that much time. I have a real day job. And so I just got to get into this. Anyway, we're gonna get into a classic match. I'm still on my climb up ladder for pro. This season is brutal, guys. There has been no real changes. There's no balancing. I think Harmony is still OP, but a bunch of people have a bunch of counter decks. So so this diagram, it's like you play meta deck and then you get paired against an anti-meta deck. Then you play an anti-meta deck and you get paired against some person's random unique deck. And then whenever you play your random unique deck, you get paired up against the meta deck. So, there's just no justice. What are you going to do? Alright, so big goals here. We want to keep Vandegrifts in our hand. We just want to play him at the end of a round. So looks like he's playing Soldier's Ball with a collar. So he's going to lock an enemy unit and damage it by 3. And then what we're going to do here basically is just try to get out a knight so that we can use Mad Charge on our Trident Infantry. I hate Century Knights, as you guys know, so he's going to be first to go away. We actually want to stay pretty thick with bronzes here. We just want to mess with this guy. And then that's about it, to be honest with you. So we'll try to get out Sentry and Artificer and Vindholm. We'll just see how this round goes, but I really want Mad Charge on Tridem, get that Vitality, and have a good time with that. All right. So I think probably our first play, even though he's going to knock this down with this Collar, is probably Redanian Knight. It's not going to kill it. We just need a Knight out here in order to get that boost on Tridem, right? So, additionally, if he hits this with the lock, it is not going to do the 2 damage to the Nilfgaardian Knight. Remember, it's just the strongest enemy unit. I doubt he's going to play something higher than a 7, but just something to keep in mind. And then cards to keep for us. Selkirk, we want to keep him in the back pocket along with Radeyah. They make for a nasty combo for final round, just to do some straight up murder, right? So he's going to get boosted to at least 8 points, depending on whether or not we have Vandegrifts Blade and Reynard Odo. I will say one thing that is kind of a downside to this deck. I don't have Royal Decree in here, so I can't get a specific pull on a unit. Which can, has its pros and cons. So just something to think about. All right, very interesting. He chooses not to use his Collar on Redanian Knight. So let's actually let's get out Sentry and Artificer. We're just going to put him to range draw. He's basically going to play for points. I expect him to lock him. But who knows these days? People making all kinds of weird choices. So what I'm anticipating here is Soldier's Ball. Here comes Ramon. Yep, with Ardfane, Crossbowman. So he has it in hand. I anticipate he will play it next, in the next play that he makes. So I don't necessarily want to or need to go super hard here. He's gonna hit whoever I play next by 2. So I just don't. And then he's going to do random damage with this Ardfane Crossbowman. So I need to bleed him just a little bit. And that's probably all I need to do. Let's get out Tridem. They could play for more in a different round. But unless he plays Lock on them, they should survive whatever he throws out next. And Tridem, for whatever reason, is just one of these cards that people fixate on. He's a 4 provision cost card. Granted, every time he gets boosted, he does 1 damage. It's a pretty solid 4 provision card. But I mean, he plays for as many points over the same round as Kidwani Sergeant does. But people just get fixated on him for whatever reason. And it's just, I find it a really good way to just kind of draw out your opponent's cards. So we're going to play him out. Then we're going to get out Kidwani Sergeant. And then if they still leave him, we might even be able to get siege support to get another boost on here. But yeah, here comes the lock. Guys, don't ask me. I don't know why. I mean, he's gonna hit for 1 more hit, right? And had we put Kidwani Sergeant, he could have hit for 2 more points. But it's kind of like, dude, look how many points you're up by. Is that really the play you want to make? Do you really want to go this deep? And I guess he does. So I think what we'll do here, big question we need to ask ourselves, do we want to keep Vindholm for another round? I think yes. And I don't think we want to use Selkirk to kill anybody. I'd like to keep siege support, but I don't really love Kidwani Sergeant. He doesn't really have another purpose for me since I still have 2 leader all 3 of my leader charges that I can get boosts for and then play a boosted unit with Vissegerd synergy. I'm more concerned about getting all of his damage cards out, right? So the more damage cards he plays this round, the fewer he's going to have later on. Instead, he's going to be heavily reliant on pulling his Masquerade Ball and using his Aristocrats, which granted are going to be pretty good against my cards. I have a few cards with status, right? So Vandegrift is going to have status going into final round. Vindholm's going to have status. They both have shields. Vandegrift has resilience. So, stuff to think about. I can use Cursed Knights to flip those around, so I think I'd like to use them to avoid some of those poisons. I like Reynard. I like Shupe's Day Off. I love Selkirk. I feel like I have a pretty good hand here. The cards I really want to be able to grab, I really want this Vandegrifts Blade. Donimir would be fine. Oh, I do have Royal Decree. I apologize. I do have Royal Decree. I like Vissegerd, Prince Anseis, Vandegrifts Blade, maybe even Kudakook. But I'm pretty happy with where this hand stands. Though I will say, if I get Donimir, I will not need siege support. So maybe let's try to reach for Donimir right now. This is a really good combo, but it's not the combo I need right now. I'm not super concerned about that, so as protecting that exposed, because we milked some of his damage cards. I'm not as concerned about that as I am about deflecting those poisons, right? So Kudakuk is my one Purify unit. That's the one thing this deck is a little bit limp on. But just something to keep in mind. So I think Radeyah's Royal Guards are something I plan to play to ranged row, and then probably play Reynard onto them. So just when you play Vandegrift, have some forethought into where you want him to be next round. If I had Donimir, I'm really going to want to protect my melee row. That's where Radeyah is also going to be played. So I know that I have to be constrained to melee. So even though I plan on playing Royal Guards there, I'm going to play Vandegrift to front row. So again, just think about it, be precise, use him wisely. I sometimes even use him as kind of like a red herring if you can like milk out their Vincent Van Morlehem, right? The guy who destroys any enemy unit with status. That's a good way to go. All right, I don't need Radeyah's Royal Guards. I definitely don't need siege support. I mean, I'd love to hide Selkirk behind a defender, but I don't necessarily need that. So. All right, well, we got Northern Wind, which wasn't my preferred choice here. That's really good against the Saris deck. You want to use that against her when she gets played first round. Banish her, she can't get played again. So that works really well for you. And then it also kind of nerfs the Matahori going forward into the further rounds, right? Because she pulls the highest provision cost unit. And the Lippy Flip deck relies on several 10 provision cost units. And so you have like a random chance of getting something that's good without really knowing whatever that good thing is. All right, so play here. Basically, we want Radeyah out. There's nothing they can do to destroy this stratagem, so it doesn't hurt you at all to have it out there for whenever you do want it. You don't know when that's going to be. Could happen anytime. One thing we do want to kind of keep in mind here, we really want Vandegrifts Blade out. And we really want to get Reynard out, right? So we kind of have to choose. Vandegrift is going to be weak against that Vincent Van Morlehem play, and I don't necessarily want him buffed up to 11 points. Whichever one I use it on is going to get boosted above like a Geralt threshold of 9. So I think I'm going to go Radeyah here. She does not have any of those, status effects on her. And we can flip her into a Cursed Knight if she runs into trouble, which is happening right now. And the Cursed Knight is going to get boosted because of this Vandegrifts Blade, right? So I think we're just going to kind of keep it rolling. One of the best things about this deck, in my opinion, like Anseis and the formation cards. So Vissegerd, Anseis, and then Selkirk is really like the only one that's kind of like row locked, so you really do have to play him in the melee row. If he gets moved, you're screwed. So I prefer to play him late in the round after I have kind of like juiced the opponent for all he's worth. But otherwise, no other row restrictions. All right, so I thought about putting Bomb Heaver in here. I hate this RNG that exists with this, but I prefer to play the Knight Shupe, and this is just another reason to play it. So you got the lock, the boost, and there we go. Look at us going big. Super lucky. All right, cool. Murder the Artifact. That is going to basically nerf his whole game. The thing about Soldier's Ball is it like deeply relies on Ball as the main engine for third round, right? Like if you play it early in first round, you can have a crappy first round, parlay it into a mediocre second round, even if the enemy is bleeding you, and still do all right. What you definitely cannot do is let them take that down. All right, so one thing I think we're gonna do here, we have 1, 2, 3 units. We're just going to go for a boost here on Vissegerd. We're going to knock out Morale. I know he probably has another poison. I'm guessing like Van Morlehem Cupbearer. but I don't want to just feed him poisons. So like one thing you can do with morale, you can that's kind of a smart play. It's better if you play like Fangs of the Empire, poison a unit, then you play morale, and you can kill that unit, and then the next round you use his order and another Fangs to kill a second unit all at once. So it's like bam bam, really only takes you 3 rounds. It's a much better way to play. And when you play with the if you could do it with like Joachim, that's even better, because then you can actually just do it in 2, and it's aristocrat, so you can pull out a Fangs from that. So that can be one good way to do it. So biggest thing I'm worried about here now is just getting out Reynard and Vindholm. I'm not terribly concerned about Reynard because 1 boost to 1, 2, 3, 4 more units, but we're just gonna have to see. I don't know why he's reaching for a Tryst, so we're just gonna have to see what he pulls out here. Yeah, Lacerate's a bad reach. So, I mean, he's going to knock these down. Maybe he's... I mean, I've already played my Vissegerd, right? My leader ability is going to get that boost. But I think, like, look here. Let's just get this... Let's get Vindholm out next to Shupe. We can get the boost from Reynard on both of them. And Vindholm is obviously not going to take damage. We can use this engineering solution still on Selkirk if we want to. This lock looks like that's what we're going to have to do, but you otherwise have the option of using that to refresh Vindholm's shield, right? So that can be actually a really useful thing to do. I think right now we're just going to get out Reynard, get this boost out. So, and then remember what I said here too for Selkirk, right? So this engineering solution is going to boost him to 8, but that's if you don't already have Reynard and Vandegrifts Blade out, right? So I actually gonna get him in here, and he's gonna get boosted way higher. So look, there's a Vincent play. That's what I was waiting for. I actually feel pretty happy about that. I kind of want to get out Radovid's Royal Guards at this point. I'm gonna have a couple options with them. I can boost up Selkirk, give him armor. Don't really need to do that, as I've just described with this engineering solution. Instead, I can use them to just boost units. And I'm probably going to do that to use my leader ability with. We need to get out Selkirk this round, though. And I do not want to give him status, even though he's already played Vincent. I just don't need to use this ability right now. So I think what I'm actually going to do here is just boost up Royal Guards and just kind of sit on both of these things. He could lock either one of them. That would be lost points. But I'm okay with either of those things. At this point, we're up by 14. Yeah, I'm more concerned about Yennefer's Invocation. Just look, I would have wasted the points having played it on either of them, right? So now we still have Northern Wind. Probably would have been better to have used that against Thirsty Dame straight up and right away. But at this point, we can use this here. Shupe already has status, so I'm fine using this on him. We'll use formation on Radovid's Royal Guards on Reynard, and then we can just use our last boost on Cursed Knight. Doesn't really make a difference. And we're going to get out Lyrian Scytheman. So Lyrian Scytheman is going to play for approximately the same number of points his Imperial Formation is, which makes this a good counter for Soldier's Ball. Joachim is a great play on that Selkirk, but he's not going to be able to use Selkirk because it's final round. But he's going to be able to boost that way up. He still gets his 8 boosts from Soldier's Ball, but it's not enough. Knights of Legend from the Northern Realms strike down Soldier's Ball. You saw he had some good plays. Now, I will say, we got lucky on the dice rolls with Shupe, but we didn't necessarily get all of our favorite cards, right? Like, I would have rather had Anseis over Selkirk of Gullet. I would have liked to have Donimir to hide Selkirk behind, and also to be the target for Vincent. Especially with that Vandegrifts Blade boosting Radeyah up to 14. It was just kind of some lost points, but I didn't want him to be able to kill Vandegrift. Now, you guys are going to point out, well, you could have put it on Vandegrift. It would have only been 11 versus the 14. That's true, but Vandegrift was already had the shield on him. I didn't have Kudakook to wipe that off. So, that was just kind of catch-22 there for me. I didn't really have a great option. But those are things just to keep in mind as you're working this. have fun with this deck. You know, I've said this before. I play this game for fun. I love having a fun time, and you should too. Don't get warped into some false sense of security with these quote-unquote meta decks that other people are talking about. I mean, we didn't show this here, but this deck can actually take Harmony to task. And main point being that Harmony always saves up for like a big third round, right? Like, in order to get out of a sparse second round, they have to play big. And if you can really play it right, where you can like use all of your bronzes to milk all of their mediocre cards in round one, kind of ruin some of the Harmony synergy, and then just juice them hard with maybe like your Anseis, your Reynard, and then play like a Vandegrifts in round two, carry over Vandegrifts Blade, get out Selkirk, knock down whatever their highest unit is. You can do some really great work. It is helpful to win round one if that happens to you. But I would say, like, even against that Harmony deck, this deck does really well. Shupe is also nasty. I mean, you can use Hunter Shupe to destroy a random character, do 3 damage to 3 characters, lock a unit using the Knight. You guys just saw him destroy an artifact. So this is a very versatile deck. People really don't understand the synergy super well because this is not a widely used deck. I've never seen it before. But it just, you know, Vandegrifts Blade and Reynard are going to boost all of your Knights by 2, and you can just go to work. And then the Lyrian Scytheman, I like this a little bit more. I find it more flexible, better way to get a bunch of points at the end than Inspired Zeal. Though had I used Inspired Zeal, I could have used Selkirk and killed off his Thirsty Dame. But I don't feel like that made too much. That would have made too much of a difference. But let me know what you guys think. Please paste some comments down below. Please like, subscribe. Really helps me out. And I love the challenges you guys have been giving me with some of these decks. Really had to think hard on that Monsters deck, but had a good time making it. So anyway, thank you guys so much. Talk to you soon.